Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh!
We auditioned to get selected. We were selected. Why did you do this whole thing?
I thought it'd be a good opportunity for students to get to just kind of play outside of the Imperial Valley.
Things went really, really well. Jimmy Cannon started that group in the early 70s.
He said exactly what I've been thinking all year long.
I think we can all agree that this band rocks.
Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and other distinguished members of the audience. You're listening to ValleyVibeZ, a radio show produced entirely by SpartanSound Productions, Central Union High's very own production studio. I'm your host, Daniel Montoya. Now, I'm currently not in the studio, as you might have noticed, because it is the very beginning of summer. But I decided to pop my head in for a little bit to talk about the Association of Popular Music Education Conference that was held at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles just last week. Now, for the episode, we are, of course, going to be talking about the conference. And to do this, we brought in Dr. Tacke, who is the head of SpartanSound Productions, as many of you might know, and Mr. Rubio, the head of Rock Combo, who was also on the second episode of ValleyVibeZ, if I remember correctly. And they're going to be talking about the event, things that went on, and what this means for the future of Central Union High's music and audio department.
Thank you, Daniel, for that intro. I'm Dr. Tom Tacke.
I'm Art Rubio.
And we are both music teachers at Central Union High School, teaching in the popular and contemporary music areas. This past weekend, we took students to the APME, the Association for Popular Music Education National Conference at USC in LA, to perform for adjudication and a cumulative concert at the end. And this was we auditioned to get selected. We were selected, and things went really, really well. Art, you know what? Why did you do this whole thing? What was the reason of going to a national conference with the Rock Combo?
Well, I was asked by Dr. Tacke. I was asked by you essentially if I can go ahead and for us to audition for it. I know I believe you had some. What is it? Some conferences to give or some.
Yeah, I had a couple
seminars
presentations to give, and I thought that our group should be there too. But
yeah, so he kind of suggested it to me a couple months back. I thought it'd be a good opportunity for the students to get to just kind of play outside of the Imperial Valley. They had already played the fair. They've already done some small events on campus, and they've done some things off campus and from students who have been in Rock Combo for previous years. But I thought it'd be a good opportunity for them to just kind of get around people who are from different places than they are, and who have different experiences of musicianship than they do.
Right, and it's as organizations go, it's a pretty big organization. It has a national conference each year. It has an international conference each year. In fact, here in July, they'll be in Edinburgh, Scotland, doing what they did at USC, and it's some heavyweights that show up there. So I was really happy when your groups got selected. Likewise, I was real happy that I got 2 DJs selected. And that kind of worked out. It was interesting because, as it turns out, they've never had DJs at the conference before, yet they kind of embody that whole idea of popular music. So it was a cool opportunity, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. But more about the Rock Combo, Art.
Yeah, so I thought it was a good opportunity. I was completely unaware of what that conference was. And Dr. Tacke had given me he told me about it, and again, I thought it was something that the students would benefit from more than anything else. So yeah, I thought it was definitely a great way for them to get feedback from people other than myself. And it wasn't really a class setting, but I guess you could say in a classroom setting. There was a clinician just kind of coaching them, I guess would be the best word, to get some feedback from another person coaching them other than myself, which it seemed to help them a lot. They had a different understanding of things. It helped me too to think of ways I can better coach my students and better ways to explain to them some methods that will help them, that in the future will help them improve their musicianship, their performance, and their understanding of what it really means to be in a band and be in an ensemble that differs from the traditional ensemble.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always like our students, they listen to us, but they might not think that we are as expert as maybe we really are.
Right.
And you've got a lot of experience in performing outside of the Valley. I mean, you've performed all over the world.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And so, and I don't think that they always get that or think that's real, but no, it's real. And but they've been getting, that group's been getting better and better. It kind of was, as we talked about a long time ago at the very beginning of ValleyVibeZ, in episode 2, we talked about how Jimmy Cannon started that group in the early 70s, and it was a well-known group then. It continued to flourish, and then it diminished, and then it came back, and then it diminished again and kind of went away, and you and I got that going again the year that we came back from COVID, and they played the prom that year, and it was a solid group. Last year, you had them as a class, and then this year you had them as a class. So, it's great work with what you've done with them, as evidenced by the reviews that you got at USC. In fact, Art's being kind of humble here, but the evaluator was the department chair of the popular music program at USC. He's very well known for his promotion of rock and popular music. So, and to quote him, when after they played their set, he stood up and he said, "I think we can all agree that this band rocks."
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
and what'd you feel about that, right? When you heard him say that, because I know initially you were thinking you might get cut down a little bit and kind of torn up, and he came out with, "We can all agree that this band rocks." What was your feeling right at that moment?
Yeah, well, I actually I'm kind of familiar with these kinds of processes of evaluation, having been a student myself, and for me it was definitely a great compliment. I know he started with the positive review, which they do, which is why I picked those students. And I was curious about what he had to say about them as a group, and I thought he said exactly what I've been thinking all year long about these kids. So it was validating for me, and it was also validating for me even afterwards, hearing what he was telling my students. He was giving them feedback, kind of telling them things that I've sort of alluded to, not necessarily mentioned in detail the way he did. He kind of got them to understand their place in the group a lot better than I think I had done. But the message was essentially the same. So it kind of validated everything that, first of all, I felt regarding my group, and everything that I tried to explain to my students, where I probably fell short of explaining throughout the whole year, which I don't see as falling short. I just kind of see it more as like they didn't they heard it from someone else and they got to understand it in a different light. Again, this is somebody that they were really attentive to. They didn't know who he was. They see me every day, so it's a bit of a difference when you're getting feedback from somebody you don't know as opposed to someone who you're just familiar with.
Right. And for the listeners, the other bands that were selected were solid. They really were. In fact, the one that was of particular interest to Art and I was a band from a Memphis suburb, and they have won the rock band, pop band of the year, Downbeat Magazine's rock band of the year, the last 2 years running. And they were really good, but you know what? They weren't that much better. I don't know, actually, in a lot of aspects, I don't think they were better than the CUHS rock combo. They certainly, had, particularly at their concert thing, they brought out a couple songs that were fabulous. They did Beyonce's "Crazy About Love," and isn't that the name of it?
Crazy in Love.
Crazy in Love, yeah, Crazy in Love. And they had the three vocalists that just did wonderful, and they did a B-52's Rock Lobster that was good. But their song selection was quite different than what the CUHS rock combo did. I feel like maybe Mr. Rubio allowed students to have a lot more input into the song selection, and that in turn played in his favor because their commitment and understanding and delivery of the songs was a lot greater than the one trying to do Proud Mary. And it was okay again, and I don't know if they'll ever hear this, maybe they will, but we certainly did not come anywhere near embarrassing ourselves by showing up.
Right.
And in the next couple of days, they performed on Friday morning, and by that afternoon and like even the next day, I'm hearing people talk about CUHS music, and there's recognition of who we are and what we're doing, and I think that's a great thing for the Valley.
Yeah, definitely.
It just it's not that we have to be better than anybody, but we certainly have a lot to deliver. It's and we have to have a lot to offer our students here. I think there's no reason to do this if we're going to do it halfways.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that was where I was a little bit wondering if the song selection we had would fit. Having been from here, from the Imperial Valley, and then moving to LA to go to school and be around popular musicians over there. Popular music to them is a lot different. People in bigger cities, especially like LA, is a lot different than popular music here in Imperial Valley. And me knowing that, they do pick their songs, and I kind of had to filter some songs out just to not be too over the top, so we can still show them our strengths, but also kind of have the clinicians and the people over there still be able to digest what we were doing, because again, you're dealing with people from all over. They may not understand something super fast and thrashy. We may love it out here. I love it personally, but from my experience, there's just different type of musicians that you kind of also want to show your strengths and also show that you can pay attention to the audience, read the audience. And I think that's what I wanted my students to understand was learn how to read an audience.
Right.
Learn how to be selective with your audience and know what you're going to play for the right people. You want people to enjoy the experience. You also want your students to have fun playing too. So there's a balancing act that I always try to do, whether it be in a conference or whether it be just picking the set list in general, is what are my students gonna enjoy playing, and what's the audience going to want to hear. Because one thing I've personally never liked is self-indulgent artists who think they are doing what people want to hear only to fulfill themselves.
Wow, that's so true. That
So,
is,
finding a balance.
that's funny that you bring that up, because it's like when you were a freshman at CUHS and in the rock combo, you just described that particular band. There's a lot of guys in that band that they wanted to do songs that were for themselves.
Yep.
And they did them really well. Don't get me wrong, they did them really, really well. But there wasn't a real good audience connect at times.
And that's for me what popular music is. It's catering to what's popular, to what's it's in the name. It differs a lot from traditional bands where you're doing something out of tradition or something out of to try to fit a certain mold. And that's what I tell my students is we are still a popular music ensemble. To not lose sight of that, you do want to play what feels good, but it's, again, like I mentioned earlier, it is a balance. And I've come from places where people are super self-indulgent in what they play musically, and from places where people are holding back too much just to please an audience. And I think if you can blend the both, you get good results, and it's evident in what our clinician from USC, who happens to be, what is he, the head
department head
of the popular music program at USC, and I think he got to see that, and I think he got to feel that, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted everybody over there to feel when I was telling my students about the set list, what songs would fit, and what songs we should or maybe shouldn't do.
Exactly. You've been listening to ValleyVibeZ, in a discussion by Art Rubio and myself, Dr. Tom Tacke, about the Association for Popular Music Education Conference that we attended last weekend with the Rock Combo and the SpartanSound Production DJs. Let's get back into it. Yeah, it really was a great experience there. As for my DJs, it was real similar type of commentary that we got. They brought in a DJ that worked with the students a little bit before their set, and then they listened to their sets, and then worked with them after and gave them some suggestions. And basically, their feeling was that what they're doing is worthy of being heard anywhere. That they could they talking to Eddie Vera. DJ Steady. They said, his music is ready to be heard pretty much any club, any time all day long. And then our Casey McFadden is another one of our DJs, and he just said his stuff was the stuff that you're going to listen to at night. He's going to be in the club. So that both of them, I was really impressed with what they laid down. And anything you want to say about the experience, or why we bothered teaching popular music?
The experience of are you referring to APME conference? Or the experience, it was great. It was laid back enough, yet everything kind of kept you interested just because of how good these people giving the seminars were. And I know for myself, for me, my personal experience with it was I got to learn a lot, not just to relate to my students, but just for myself to use as a musician, and ways to instruct my students when I see them struggling with something, or to get them to sound the way they need to sound depending on what song they're playing. And for me personally, I think this conference kind of showed me why where popular music is right now in schools, why we even have it, and it's just, it speaks to the students right now, and it speaks to the just people who want to listen to music in general. I mean, that was one thing that I got to see a lot in some of those seminars and hear a lot about, how lots of students are gravitating towards this style of music. So I think the fact that Dr. Tacke and I have been able to give lots of students opportunities and be active with it and be proactive doing these events and participating in these events, I think it gives incentive for students to really take advantage of what's being offered to them here on campus. Because in my experience, I've talked to teachers in other schools, and at a high school level, this isn't really happening in a lot of high schools. And if it is, it's definitely, from what I understand, is not the way Dr. Tacke and I are doing it, with the quality of instruction and giving the students the experiences while giving constructive feedback to our students. And I think this conference validated a lot of that for me personally.
I agree. So let's listen to some music here, shall we? And for you listeners, I want to put this caveat out there that basically we recorded these sessions using these microphones that we're talking on right now. So it wasn't like we set up a great recording situation. It's live. It's not mixed overly well for radio broadcast. But you know what? You're going to get an idea of how tight and how good it was. So.
The first song we have here is Duvet by Boa. The second song we have is Just a Girl by No Doubt.
Go
the third song we have is Where Am I by Title Fight. And the fourth and last song we have is Be Quiet and Drive Far Away by Deftones.
Next, you will hear the SpartanSound Production DJs. The music they use is completely original, either by themselves or by other SpartanSound Production students. No commercial music was used. First up is Casey McFadden, the Wizard.
Suspicions are so blind. You promised me that it will be different this time, but I'm feeling deja vu. I don't see a reason to worry about them breaking our love. Here in our first season, I don't like the ending, but I can't turn it off. I don't see a reason to worry about them breaking our love. Here in our first season, I don't like the ending, but I can't turn it off.
here's DJ Steady, also known as Eddie Vera.
To be honest with you, I do not have as much confidence here as Casey does with this thing. But I created an album full of songs. And my stage name is DJ Steady. And welcome to my trip zone.
So that was our sets at the APME conference, and we both came out with outstanding reviews and such. Well, Art, I hope you have a great summer.
Likewise.
And we're going to be back on talking about music in one of these episodes soon. So, see ya.
All right. See you all later.
Okay. So that was fantastic to talk to Mr. Rubio about the APME. As mentioned earlier in this episode at the very beginning, this is episode number 20, and we are in the summer, and it unfortunately is Daniel Montoya's farewell episode. So Daniel, you've done some outstanding work in the last 5 months. We're going to miss you greatly.
Likewise, it was both a pleasure and an honor to be, the host of the very first season, I suppose, of ValleyVibeZ. It was something that was completely unexpected for me. When I first got the notice that the show had been established and that I was slated to be the host, I was sitting in my room. It was winter break and I wasn't doing anything, and I just got a text, and it basically fell into my lap, which was incredibly surprising. And, the amount of work that I put in, it feels very minimal compared to the value that this has brought to my life and hopefully any sort of future prospects I have. So I would just like to thank you for that.
Well, we thank you an awful lot. I had you in class a year ago, and at that point in time, you had expressed an interest in doing some radio work. I thought that was a really good idea, and I told you that I was going to look for opportunities, and came to us. Thankful to Power 98 for allowing this opportunity to happen for the school and for Daniel and for everybody involved. So, but you've really risen to the occasion, and we really appreciate, what you've brought to ValleyVibeZ and your great voice. So thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tacke.
So what else is there to say?
Well, I suppose this is Daniel Montoya signing off for the very last time, save for a few occasions where a couple of unbroadcast episodes might air over the summer.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Dr. Tacke. See you, folks.
This program was produced and brought to you by SpartanSound Productions. Special thanks to our guest, Mr. Art Rubio. We'd also like to thank our regular host, Daniel Montoya, for his service during these last 20 episodes. Best wishes. Also, thanks to Dr. Thomas Tacke, creator and director of SpartanSound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School, and the Central Union High School District, and Mr. Javier Fimbres and Power 98 for hosting us, and to you, the listeners.